Dream of the Red Chamber Chapter 3.
This chapter, it's doing so much more than just introducing characters. It's really setting up these huge conflicts. We're seeing two very different stories smashed together.
Right.
You've got this cold, calculated political comeback on one side. Yukun, exactly. And then on the other hand, you have this really fragile emotional journey of a young girl, Lin Dayu, entering this incredibly powerful family, a family that's basically going to shape her whole life.
So our mission today, using the sources you brought, is to track those two things. First, how does this disgraced official, Jia Yukun, climb back up so quickly? And second, we follow Lin Dayu step by careful step as she enters the Jia world. The whole chapter really shows how connections, personal ties move everything, politics and family.
And what's really striking, maybe even a bit cynical, is how tightly those two things, the personal and the political, are locked together here.
How so?
Well, Dayu's journey, it's driven by intense grief, right? Her mother just died. But that very journey becomes the vehicle, the actual sponsorship opportunity that Yukun uses to get back into his official position.
Wow.
So the family connection that's meant to give her shelter is at the same time being leveraged for his career. It's complicated.
That's a powerful way to put it. Okay, let's start with that political climb then. Jia Yukun. So when we first meet Jia Yukun properly in this situation, he's been dismissed. He's just been tutoring young Dayu at the Lin house, sort of lying low. What kicks off this sudden turnaround? Where does the chance even come from?
It's almost pure luck. Or maybe just, good networking. He runs into an old colleague, Zhang Rugi. He'd also been kicked out of office.
Okay.
And Zhang has been keeping his ear to the ground, and he overhears this crucial bit of news. The government in the capital has quietly okayed the return of a bunch of former officials.
Ah, a window of opportunity.
Exactly. Zhang is scrambling himself, and he tips Yukun off, tells him now's the time.
So he knows what the opportunity is, but he still needs the how and the strategy that comes from someone else, right?
That's right. The how comes from Ling Xixing. He's the strategist here, and he lays out the plan. It's very specific. Use Lin Ruhai.
Dayu's father.
Dayu's father. He's the key. Ruhai needs to petition his powerful brother-in-law, Jia Zhang, who's right there in the capital. That's the inside track. It bypasses all the usual, bureaucratic hoops.
But why would Lin Ruhai do that? Why risk helping a disgraced tutor? What's in it for him?
It's not about politics for Ruhai. It's presented as paying back a debt, an intellectual debt. Yukun was apparently a very good tutor for Dayu.
Oh, okay.
So Ruhai feels obliged. He promises Yukun two things. First, a letter of recommendation to his inner relative, that's the term used for his wife's brother, Jia Zhang.
Got it.
And second, this is crucial, he guarantees he'll cover all the expenses.
Yeah.
Anything related to getting reinstated, Ruhai will pay for it.
So Yukun pays nothing. He just needs to show up. He gets a direct line to one of the most powerful families basically for free.
It's incredibly slick maneuvering. Yukun doesn't have to worry about money, about logistics. He just needs to focus on presenting himself as this polished scholar.
Which brings us to the Jesus themselves. We need to understand just how powerful this family is. Who are these patrons?
Yeah, the source lays it out. We're talking about the descendants of Ronggong. And there are two main figures, the brothers of Lin Ruhai's wife who passed away.
Right, and they have these impressive titles?
They do. The family holds hereditary titles, which is a big deal. The older brother-in-law is Jia Shi. His style name is Enhu, and he's a hereditary first-class general. So significant military clout there.
But the plan targets the younger brother, Jia Zhang. Why him specifically?
He was the smarter choice because of his personality, his reputation. The text makes a point of saying Jia Zhang's style name, Kunzhou, currently a minister, a Yuan Ailan, in the Ministry of Works, was humble, righteous. He wasn't like, a frivolous official. And the most important thing for Yukun, Jia Zhang liked scholars. He admired literary men.
That's the hook. So Yukun doesn't come begging for a political favor. He comes as a fellow scholar, seeking connection.
Precisely. He uses this polite fiction, presenting a visiting card as a clan nephew, a zonzi, to establish a sort of distant family tie. He presents himself to Jia Zhang, the scholar lover, and it works. Lin Ruhai's letter, Yukun's scholarly act, it just clicks.
That speed is almost scary. Once Jia Zhang is on board, how long does this whole political fix actually take?
It's stunningly fast. Yukun actually travels with Dayu towards the capital. Same route, totally different reasons.
Right.
And within just 2 months of arriving in Jinling, where the prefecture is, Jia Zhang's influence lands him this really important job, prefect of Yingtianfu.
Wow.
The whole thing just proves in this world the right connection, framed the right way, like repaying that literary debt, is worth so much more than years of actual service.
What a contrast. He leaves his tutoring job, leverages his old boss's connections, and bam, high office. Okay, and now we switch gears completely. The same powerful family connection that oiled Yukon's political machine is now managing Dayu's really painful emotional move.
It is a tragic irony, isn't it? Her mother's death, the source of all this grief, is what opens the door for Yukon's ambition. But for Dayu, it means she has to move. Her grandmother, Jiamu, insists.
The matriarch.
The matriarch. She's devastated by her own daughter's death and demands her granddaughter come to the capital for education, for care, immediately.
But her father, Lin Ruhai, his reasoning for sending her off is so pragmatic, but also kind of devastating. It feels like he's washing his hands of her almost.
It's really tough to read. He says he's nearly 50. He's not going to remarry. So Dayu has no mother figure there. And since she's always sick and has no siblings, he argues that sending her to grandma will, quote, relieve his worry.
Ooh.
He knows he can't give her the kind of upbringing the Jias can. And Dayu, well, she tearfully agrees. It's basically a transfer of custody.
That just sets this incredibly tense mood for her journey, doesn't it? She's already unwell, and her mother had warned her about the Jia house.
Yeah, that warning was kind of vague but unsettling. Her grandmother's house was different. That, plus her own fragile health, and seeing the wealth of the servants traveling with her, it creates this extreme anxiety. She knows she's entering a whole new world with different rules, different power dynamics.
And then we get this amazing glimpse into her mind, this resolution she makes that shapes how she approaches everything.
She decides she has to be attentive at every step and careful at all times. Literally, she resolves not to say one extra word, not to take one extra step, just out of fear of being laughed at or making a mistake. Can you imagine the self-control that takes for a young girl? To just freeze your own personality, hoping not to offend anyone.
It's like survival through being invisible. And then she arrives in the capital, which the source notes is just bustling, prosperous, crowded, totally unlike anywhere she's been. She really is stepping into a much grander, maybe scarier world.
Okay, let's follow her inside. The Jias don't just have a house, it's like a whole compound, an institution almost. What does the sheer size and layout tell us about their status?
Oh, it tells us everything. It screams imperial favor, for one. The first thing she sees is the Chazao Ningguo Fu, the Ningguo mansion, explicitly noted as built by imperial decree. It's got these huge stone lions outside, a massive 3-bay main gate.
And yet that huge main gate, it's shut. What does that signal to someone like Dayu who's watching every little detail?
It signals immense status, but also privacy and control. If the main gate stays shut, it means it's only open for really major events, high rituals.
Right.
Day-to-day life, even for important people, goes through the side gates, the corner gates. It's like an architectural boundary, keeping the inner world separate from the outside buzz. So she passes that mansion and goes to the next one, the Rongguo mansion, which is where she's headed. Again, she doesn't use the main gate. She goes through the west corner gate. Same pattern.
Exactly. Selective access. And once she's inside, the journey continues through these carefully managed stages. Her sedan chair, which was carried by big, strong men outside, gets swapped. Younger guys, maybe 17 or 18, carry it for a bit.
Why the swap?
It's about protecting the women's quarters. Keep the rougher, older male servants away from the inner sanctum. The chair finally stops at a specific gate, the Chuyawamen, the flowered gate.
And that gate, the Chuyawamen, that feels like the real barrier, doesn't it? Separating the outer, more public parts from the inner, private world of the women and children?
It's absolutely crucial. Once you pass that gate, the architecture is just designed to impress, maybe even intimidate. You go through covered walkways, you see this amazing screen made of purple sandalwood and marble super expensive materials, and then you arrive in the main courtyard.
Which is huge.
Huge. 5 bays wide, carved beams, painted rafters. Everything just shouts generational wealth and power. For Dayu, who decided to be invisible, this must have been overwhelming, sensory overload.
And then after all that buildup, all that architecture, all her self-control, the emotional dam breaks, she meets the matriarch Jiamu, the Shi Taijun.
Yeah, all Dayu's careful plans just vanish. Xiaomu comes forward, silver-haired. Dayu barely gets a bow in before her grandmother just grabs her, hugs her, and starts weeping uncontrollably, calling her, "My heart, my flesh and blood."
Oh, wow.
And of course, the sound of the matriarch weeping sets everyone else off. The whole room is crying.
That moment is incredible. It just shatters Dayu's resolution not to make a sound, not to cause a ripple. She's immediately swept up in this shared grief.
And Jiamu immediately signals Dayu's importance, too.
Yeah.
After the introductions, great aunt, second aunt, the widow of her cousin, Zhu Jiamu, turns to the other young ladies there and says they can skip school today.
It's a special privilege just for her arrival.
Exactly. It instantly marks her as high status within the household, even though she's the newcomer.
Then the cousins show up. They're all dressed alike, which signals something about their place in the family structure. But the descriptions still make them distinct.
Right. You notice the details. The first sister is described as a bit plump, gentle, agreeable. The third sister is still quite young. But the second sister gets this really vivid description.
Yes.
Slim waist, oval face, lively eyes. And she's said to have this literary essence that makes her seem beyond the mundane. You immediately know, okay, this one's important. She stands out.
So everyone sees Dayu's elegance, her good breeding, that Feng Lu Tai Du the text mentions, but they also immediately clock her physical weakness, right? Her insufficiency, her illness.
It's unavoidable. It's right there. And when they ask her about her health, her answer is, well, it's pretty shocking.
What does she say?
She reveals she's been taking medicine, specifically Renshin Yangrong. It's a ginseng-nourishing pill, since she was basically a baby, since she first started eating solid food.
Wow, her whole life.
Her whole life. Never stopped. And despite seeing famous doctors, nothing has ever worked.
That makes it sound less like just being sick and more like a fundamental part of her being, something deeply wrong. But then we get this really strange, almost supernatural backstory.
Yeah, the story of this scaly-headed monk, the Lao Tu Heshang. Apparently when Daiyu was only 3, this weird monk just showed up.
Okay.
And he made this extraordinary demand. He said if her parents didn't let her leave home, presumably to become a nun, she would never be cured.
Whoa. And he didn't stop there, did he? He added these conditions for her survival if she didn't leave.
Exactly. 2 conditions for her to live out her life peacefully in the normal world. First, she must never hear crying.
Okay, that's specific.
And second, she must never see any relatives who aren't her immediate family.
Yeah.
No external relatives.
The irony there is just painful.
It's incredibly thick, isn't it? She's arrived because of this huge outpouring of grief over her mother's death, which led directly to loud communal weeping with Jiamu and everyone else.
So, condition 1, broken immediately.
Instantly. And condition 2, she's just met her grandmother, 3 aunts, multiple cousins, a whole crowd of external relatives, all in the first hour. Suddenly, it's the disruption.
Right.
Because we don't even see her first, do we? We hear her.
That's right.
The silence is just broken by this loud laugh, and she's announcing, I'm late. I failed to welcome the distant guest. And Daiyu, who's been so careful, so proper. Well, the text says she internally thinks this is bold and rude. So why? Why is this kind of public breach of etiquette not just allowed, but almost like celebrated by the others?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It tells you everything. She doesn't need to follow the same rules as everyone else. This is Wang Shifeng. Her volume, her spectacle, it's her signature. It's a very deliberate projection of power.
Right.
She has to command attention, and she's so vital to how the household runs that her, let's call it impropriety, it's just accepted. It's part of her brand, you know?
And what a brand. It's totally maximalist. When she finally appears, the description is just, wow. Dazzling with colored embroidery, seemingly like a divine fairy.
Yeah.
The details are incredible. This isn't quiet luxury. It's like aggressive wealth display.
It is. And the sources give us so much detail, we really have to pause and think, why these specific things? She's got the gold wire, 8 treasure bun, these phoenix hairpins. Then there's the serpentine gold necklace, the Jijin Panchi, Yingluo Quan, and rose-colored pendants. Why all the gold? Why the phoenixes? It's all very specific.
I'm just picturing it. It sounds exhausting to even put on. The sheer weight, the cost. That alone sends a message, right? It's not just wealth, but access.
Yeah.
Access to resources maybe nobody else in that room has.
Precisely. And then the layers of clothing. A red satin jacket with gold-threaded butterflies. The Lujin Beidi Chuanhua Da Hong Yang Duan Zabiao, the red, color of celebration, authority. Then a stone blue silver wrap vest, an emerald skirt. It's not just clothes. It's like she's constructed herself out of expensive textiles.
Yeah.
Every single layer projects this insurmountable status.
And it's not just the clothes. Her face, her features are described as powerful too. Phoenix eyes, willow leaf eyebrows. a slender build. But then there's that line, the one that really gets me. Powder face concealing majesty, smile preceding the spoken word.
Ooh, yes. That phrase is like a psychological cheat sheet. He offers warmth, that smile comes first, but it's a mask. It hides her real calculating authority. That's the concealed majesty.
So she controls the room's mood before she even says anything substantial.
Absolutely. She manages the emotional temperature.
It makes sense then why Jiamu, the matriarch, introduces her laughing, calls her a famous ruffian and spendthrift, mentions her local nickname, the spicy one, La Z.
Which leads to the famous one, Fiery Phoenix, Feng Lezi.
Right. So who is she formally? How does she get away with all this?
Well, the sources are clear on this, and it explains a lot about her influence. She's married to Jia Lian, who's the son of Jia Shi, the old uncle.
Okay.
But maybe even more important strategically, she's the niece of Lady Wang, who is the second uncle's wife, Jia Zheng's wife.
Ah, connected on both sides.
Exactly. And she was educated, which was unusual, like a boy. Her formal name, Zuming, is Wang Shifeng. That likely explains her confidence, her focus on administration. She's perfectly positioned through marriage and blood right at the nexus of power in that household.
So the dazzling entrance makes its point. But then Shifeng does this immediate, almost shocking emotional U-turn.
Yeah, it's quite the performance.
She sees Dayu and instantly puts on this display of overwhelming sorrow about Dayu's mother dying. My poor sister's so unfortunate. Why did my aunt pass away? Tears, the whole thing.
It's pure emotional stagecraft, really masterful in a way. She connects with Dayu's grief, performs family solidarity. It ensures Dayu sees her caring side before the manager side kicks in.
She performs empathy. That's a good way to put it. But wait, if she's such a master manipulator, why does Jiamu shut her down so fast? She tells her, basically, okay, enough, don't disturb Dayu, now she's calmed down. Doesn't that show Jifeng isn't all-powerful?
That's a really sharp observation. It absolutely shows the hierarchy. Jifen's power is, let's say, operational, day-to-day power. But Jiamu is the ultimate authority, the old ancestor.
Okay.
So Shifeng gets corrected, publicly even, and watch how fast she pivots. Instantly turns sorrow into joy, makes a quick excuse about being distracted. I forgot the old ancestor. She acknowledges the hierarchy.
But only for a second.
Right. Barely pauses before shifting straight into her real domain, running things, administration.
And that shift is like whiplash. Suddenly it's rapid-fire practical questions. How old are you? Have you been studying? What medicine do you need? Do you have everything? And boom, ordering servants to prepare rooms.
Pure efficiency.
Yeah.
This is the managerial snapshot, like you said.
Yeah.
And we see it again immediately in that little exchange she has with Lady Wang, the Jimu, the second uncle's wife.
Right. The aunt she's related to.
Exactly. Lady Wang asks, kind of tucking up, has the monthly allowance, the Yuk Wen, been given out?
And is Shifeng's answer?
Already done. Yi Feng Wanli. Not, I'm doing it, or it will be done. Finished. Complete.
Okay, so she's on top of the money.
Totally. And then Lady Wang mentions needing silk or satin for Dayu's new clothes.
And Shifeng cuts her off. Not quite, but...
She preempts her. Shows incredible foresight. She says something like, oh, I already thought of that, and has already put aside materials.
What?
That tiny interaction tells you everything. Shifeng knows the inventory, controls the cash flow, plans ahead. She is the operational commander. Lady Wang might have the senior position by marriage.
But Shifeng has the power because she actually does everything and does it proactively.
Derives entirely from undeniable competence. Yes.
So after seeing Shifeng's very immediate, very personal power display, Dayu's experience shifts. She gets taken on a tour, basically, to visit the two uncles, Jia Shi and Jia Zheng. And this is where we see the other kind of power, right? The structural, historical, maybe more physical power of the place itself.
Exactly. The architecture becomes a character now. And the journey to Jia Shi's place, the older uncle, is quite revealing. They need a carriage, go through a side gate, a corner gate, enter through a black oil main door. The geography itself signals separation.
Detachment from the main hustle and bustle.
Feels like it. And his residence is described as small and unique. Xiao Kiao Bizi. It feels quieter, maybe more private, separated from the main mansion's grandeur. Lots of trees, rocks mentioned, like an aesthetic retreat.
Interesting. It definitely reflects a different style than Shifeng's entrance.
And it reflects Jishi himself, perhaps. Yeah. Because what happens? He doesn't even meet Dayu.
Right. Claims he's sick. Lian Ri Xin Shengguhao sends nice messages, make yourself at home, don't feel alienated, tell us if you feel wronged. But he avoids the meeting.
Which tells you something about his role, doesn't it? He's the elder brother, technically head of the clan branch, but maybe his power is exercised differently, more privately, perhaps a bit self-involved, detached from the core operations.
The contrast, then, when they go back to the main part of the Wrong Mansion, must be huge. This is implied to be Jia Zhang's area, the second uncle, the administrative center.
Oh, the contrast is stark. This area is described as elevated and splendid, Xuan Ang Suang Li. Totally different vibe.
This feels like the real seat of power.
It's presented as the epicenter, the official public face of the Jia family. The source even notes it has a direct road to the main gate. This is the proper main inner chamber. This is where the formal business gets done.
And the look of it. The imperial connection is just overwhelming. There's this huge plaque above the main hall.
Huge. Red gold, 9 dragon blue ground plaque, Qijinju Long Kingdi Dabian, and on it, the characters for Parnecha, Romchial. Massive. Imposing.
9 dragons. That's imperial symbolism, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it gets even more explicit. There's a smaller inscription right on the plaque. It says the plaque itself was bestowed by the emperor personally to their ancestor, Ronggo Gongjia Yuan.
Wow.
And it's stamped with the seal of myriad affairs. This isn't just decoration. It's a physical piece of paper, or wood rather, that proves their imperial favor, their nobility. This is the source of their legitimacy and status.
Okay, so that's why the family has the position it has. It's officially sanctioned right from the top.
That's the foundation.
So maybe, does this incredible, divinely sanctioned grandeur explain why Zhifeng has to be so, I don't know, extra, so dramatic and efficient? Is she maybe masking an insecurity or dealing with the pressure of maintaining this impossible standard?
That's a fascinating connection to make. The power, the wealth, it's historical, granted by this distant emperor. Xifzhen's job is to manage the messy, expensive present-day reality of living up to that legacy. Maybe she has to be loud and overwhelming because she's holding together a system constantly straining under the weight of its own magnificence and expectations.
And the inside of the hall reinforces that pressure, that gravity. It's all very imposing, right? A big bronze tripod, an ink dragon painting, some kind of golden vessel, 16 Nanmu chairs all lined up.
Everything screams stability, authority, tradition, serious business.
And there's a couplet mentioned, too, on an ebony plaque with silver inlay.
Yes, and it's crucial. It basically says, the jewels on the seats here shine like the sun and moon. The embroidered official robes in the hall gleam like iridescent clouds.
So we are as magnificent as nature itself.
Pretty much. A declaration of their supreme status. But the kicker is the signature below it.
Who signed it?
The Prince of Dongyan, Mushi.
A prince. Okay, so that's not just bragging. That's name-dropping on an epic scale. It shows real political connections.
Absolutely. The architecture isn't just showing off wealth. It's mapping their network. High political influence operating right at the top of imperial society. So this whole architectural tour basically tells Dayu and us, you've just entered a system built on imperial favor, run by people connected to princes, funded by inherited glory. It's big league.
So Dayu first rests in Madame Wang's East Room. And the text immediately hits you with these descriptions of luxury.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just, generic wealth. It's very specific, almost performative luxury. Global, even.
Right.
We'll take the Kang she rests on that big heated brick bed, common in the north, right?
Yeah, for warmth.
But it's covered with a crimson foreign carpet. Not local. Imported, expensive, probably exotic, used casually in a family room.
That signals something, and I remember reading about the tables, too.
Exactly. Plum blossom style, foreign lacquer, small tables. Again, foreign lacquerware. Complex stuff.
So, imported textiles, imported lacquer. It paints a picture of a family whose status is tied to these global luxury goods, beyond just local power.
It really does. It speaks to their reach, and maybe even a kind of decadence, and even the small things.
Like what?
The text mentions a Ruware beauty vase. Ruware, that's incredibly rare, Song Dynasty imperial stuff.
Wow. And they're just using it for flowers.
Apparently, alongside a classic bronze Wenwang censer, using priceless antiques like everyday decor. It just shows a staggering level of wealth where value almost becomes meaningless.
Yet amidst all this overwhelming stuff, Dayu is sharp. The text really emphasizes her etiquette.
It does. It says she carefully judges the hierarchy Duki Veichi. She understands the power dynamics instantly.
So she refuses the main seat on the Kang.
Right. She chooses a chair on the east side instead. For a child, that's remarkable awareness. She knows her place, even as an honored guest.
She's treating the household like a minefield, basically.
Kind of, yeah. Every move matters. And she notices the staff, too, right?
Ah, yes, that their dress and manners are different, more refined than other houses.
Even the servants reflect the Rongo mansion's elevated status. Everything operates on a higher level.
Okay, so this perfect, rigid protocol is established, but then the scene shifts.
It does. They move to a smaller room, the East Corridor main room. Seems more private, maybe less for show. The text mentions half-used cushions.
Moving from public display to maybe the private reality.
I think so. And this is where things get really interesting because Madame Wang drops a bombshell.
Right, Daiyu's still observing, noticing the empty seat, likely for her uncle, Jia Zheng.
But Madame Wang pulls her aside and just lays into her own son, Jia Baoyu.
This part always gets me. Calling your heir the root of evil, the devil king of the chaotic world, to a relative who just walked in the door.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Is she just venting? Or is it strategic? It feels so self-damaging.
Well, I think it's probably both. And that's the key insight here. She's genuinely warning Daiyu, don't pay attention to him, she says. He's volatile.
A genuine warning.
But, it's also politically savvy in a way. By setting expectations incredibly low, calling him the Devil King, any bad behavior later just confirms the warning.
So it protects Madame Wang from criticism about her parenting. I told you he was like this.
Exactly. She distances herself from his character while, still benefiting from grandmother spoiling him. It's complex.
And Daiyu already has some intel, right? She knows the basics.
Yeah, she confirms she's heard he was born holding jade, that he's extremely naughty, hates studying.
And loves spending time in the women's quarters. His reputation precedes him.
Definitely. Madame Wang explains it's because grandmother dotes on him, lets him grow up with the girls. She describes his moods perfectly sweet 1 minute.
Then, heaven and earth without a son, then mad and foolish. Total instability.
Right. Everyone else has to be perfect, follow every rule, precisely because the male heir is allowed to be absolute chaos.
That tolerated chaos makes the next scene, the dinner, even more striking.
Absolutely. If Baoyu is chaos, the dining room is pure, rigid order, military precision almost.
They move to grandmother's rear court.
Mm.
And the roles. They're so defined.
It's not just about eating, it's ritual. Status display.
You have Li Shi, Jia Zhu's widow, serving the rice. Wang Shifeng, who's a powerhouse, arranging chopsticks.
And Madame Wang herself serving the soup. Even the top women perform service to show deference. It's all hierarchy.
And where does Daiyu fit in?
She gets the honored spot, first chair on the left, confirms her guest status. But look at the sisters.
Yinchun, Tenchun, Xichun.
Yes, placed precisely. Yingchun right first, Tanchun left second, Jinjun right second. Alternating sides, strict order, every seat means something.
And then the silence. That detail is chilling.
It really is. The text says outside, where the staff and daughters-in-law... Wait, not even a cough was heard.
That's not just respect, that's control. Maybe even fear.
Total control. It shows the immense pressure to maintain this perfect facade, masking the dysfunction we just heard about from Madame Wang.
It's a performance.
Entirely. But then we get this little detail about the tea, which shows a different kind of refinement from Daiyu.
Ah, right. Her father taught her something specific.
Yes, a health rule. Wait until the food has settled before drinking tea, otherwise it harms the spleen and stomach. It's about internal well-being.
Interesting. So it's not just about social custom for her.
Exactly. And she notes this practice is out of sync with how things are done in the Jia household.
So how does she handle it?
She adapts smoothly, rinses her mouth with the first tea offering, waits, then drinks the second. It subtly shows her upbringing valued, maybe intellectual or health traditions over mere social ritual.
And speaking of intellectual things, or lack thereof, grandmother's comment about the sisters reading.
Oh, yeah. When asked what they read, she basically brushes it off, just enough not to be blind with open eyes.
So education is just window dressing. Another part of the performance for the girls?
Pretty much. It reinforces that for them, it's about status, appearance, marriage prospects, not real learning. And, that kind of environment is perfect for someone like Baoyu to exist in.
The Devil King. And just as we're thinking about that, bang, he arrives.
This silence is shattered, rushing footsteps, the controlled atmosphere just breaks.
And Daiyu's expecting this stupid, idle person Madame Wang warned her about.
She's bracing for some kind of lout, right? But what she sees is, well, it's a shock.
A total contradiction. Tell us about his first appearance. It's dazzling.
Overwhelmingly so. purple gold crown with jewels, a gold fillet with 2 dragons vying for a pearl, red jacket, silver gold butterflies, turquoise coat, woven flowers. He's like a miniature god.
Not just clothes, but art.
Exactly. And the description of him: face like the mid-autumn moon, color like the spring dawn flower, perfect features.
And that gaze. Even when angry, he seems to smile. Even when glaring, he shows affection.
Yeah.
Captivating. The absolute ideal.
The picture of perfect, privileged youth, but then...
He immediately undermines it, greets his mother, vanishes, and comes back changed.
Right. That quick change shows his impulsiveness, his need for comfort, his lack of structure, the spoiled nature.
Though his casual look is still pretty elaborate.
Oh, totally. Braids with red silk, that big black braid with 4 large pearls and gold pendants, a half-used silver red pattern jacket, still wearing his jade, his charms. He's dripping with status, even relaxed.
Physically perfect, perpetually indulged.
The world revolves around him, but the narrator isn't fooled.
No. And that brings us straight to the Jijian Yu lyrics. The poem is like the narrator steps in to give the final verdict immediately.
It's such a bold move by the author. Essentially says, don't be dazzled, here's the truth about him. It frames our entire reading of Bao Yu from this point on.
Like character assassination right at the introduction.
Pretty much. It sacrifices suspense for judgment. Let's break down what it says.
Okay, the first line hits hard.
Beautiful exterior, yes. But inside, his belly is filled with grass and weeds, all surface, no substance, crude underneath.
Ouch. And his behavior.
Condemned, ignorant of worldly affairs, perverse behavior, strange temperament, basically confirms everything Madame Wang feared. He's fundamentally unsuited to the real world, to his duties.
Which leads to the third point. Devastating for an heir.
Utterly. Judged useless to country or family, his privilege achieves nothing productive. He's a failure in waiting.
And that final line is just brutal.
Number 1 useless in the world. Unworthy without parallel. The narrator holds nothing back. Before the story really gets going, we're told the central male figure is a complete write-off.
Bao Yu's arrival. It's often described as, well, ethereal.
And the first thing that hits you is Bao Yu's reaction, that sense of destiny. He sees her and says something like, I've seen this sister before. That mianshan, that feeling of knowing someone.
Right. It's not just attraction, it's recognition on a deeper level. And the author doesn't just say she's beautiful. The language is incredibly specific, almost poetic, defining her inner world through her appearance.
Like those famous lines. Can you remind us?
Sure. 2 bays of brows that seemed furrowed, yet not furrowed like drifting smoke. And a pair of eyes that seemed weeping, yet not weeping, containing dew.
That seemed yet not... Structure is so key, isn't it? It captures that fragility that held back sorrow.
Absolutely. And it continues with her movements, like a delicate flower reflected in water when still, and like a weak willow assisted by the wind when moving. She embodies fragility.
The text really leans into this. It mentions the sorrow of 2 dimples and, crucially, the illness of a whole body. This isn't just a passing cold.
No, it's fundamental to her character. And then you get those almost over-the-top comparisons. Her cleverness surpasses beyond the ancient sage, but her illness surpasses Shiti by 3 points.
And just to remind everyone, Shitzi is like the ultimate benchmark of beauty in Chinese history, one of the 4 great beauties.
Exactly. So saying Dai Yu is sicker than the paragon of beauty, well, it ties her beauty inextricably to tragedy, to suffering, maybe even suggests it's fatal. Her beauty is her illness, in a way.
So this poetic, tragic figure arrives, and Bai Yu's reaction is, well, it's pure Bai Yu, part ego, part soulmate recognition. He immediately wants to name her.
Yeah, he jumps right in proposing the courtesy name Pin Pin.
And he has this whole justification ready, doesn't he? Linking it to her eyebrows in some Western stone called dye.
He does. He's trying to forge this intellectual link, connecting her defining feature, those slightly furrowed brows, to this obscure reference. It's quite pretentious, really.
And his cousin Tan Chun calls him out on it, right? Jokes that he just made it up.
Yep. She says it's just his own fabrication, kind of punctures his balloon a bit.
But that light moment just vanishes. Everything shifts when Bai Yu asks the question.
Ah, yes. Do you also have a jade?
And Dai Yu naturally says no. I mean, why would she? She assumes he's just asking because he has one.
And Bai Yu.
Yeah.
He doesn't just get upset, he completely loses it.
Yeah.
The text calls it a crazy fit Qi Kuang Bing.
It's intense. It's not a kid throwing a tantrum over a toy. It feels deeper, symbolic.
Totally. He sees as fundamentally wrong. If they're connected, if his jade is his essence, his life root, how can she not have one? It throws his whole world out of whack.
So he rips it off this thing, supposedly born with him, and throws it. He curses it. It says it doesn't choose the worth of people.
He's challenging fate, challenging the object's spiritual power. If it doesn't connect him to her, what good is it? The whole household goes into panic mode.
But grandmother Gia-Mu, she takes control. She doesn't just scold him or pick up the jade. She reveals something crucial.
Yes, and this is brilliant. She offers an explanation that speaks directly to Bayu's own values. It reframes the entire situation.
She tells him Dayu did have one, or implies something similar, but it was involved in her mother's funeral rites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was part of the Kwansunzanjili, the ritual sacrifice, symbolizing Dayu's profound filial piety, her Jinshaosen.
Ah, okay, so the lack of a jade isn't a spiritual mismatch.
It's proof of her virtue, her devotion to family duty. Bayu accepts this instantly because it fits his moral framework. Sacrifice and duty make sense in his world, even if cosmic connection doesn't always.
That moment just perfectly encapsulates the novel's core tension, doesn't it? That clash between pure spiritual feeling and the demands of ritual family society.
It really does. Okay, so the Jade crisis is averted, for now. Jimu then sorts out where Dayu will stay.
And the arrangement itself says a lot. Protection and closeness seem key.
Absolutely. Jimu moves Bayu into the inner chamber, the Nuan gear, with her. And Dayu is placed right nearby in the Bishachu, that green gauze alcove.
So Dayu is literally under the matriarch's wing, right next to the center of power.
And Bayu insists on being even closer. He wants to sleep right outside her partition. It establishes their immediate, constant proximity.
Now, Dayu didn't arrive alone, but her small entourage wasn't quite up to Jia Mansion's standards, apparently.
Right. She had her old nurse, Wang Momo, and a young maid, Shui Yang. Jiamu deems this insufficient.
So she assigns one of her own maids to Dayu.
Yes, and not just any maid. She gives her Yingge, or parrot, who is described as a capable second-rank maid. This is a significant gesture. It shows favor and integrates Dayu into the household service network immediately.
Which brings us to Baoyu's chief maid, Shi Ren. She's such a critical character, far more than just staff.
Definitely. Her original name was Zhenzu, Pearl. She was actually Jiamu's servant initially.
Oh, right. And Jiamu gave her to Baoyu.
Yes, because of her dedication, her pure heart. And then Baoyu renamed her Shi Ren.
After that line of poetry, Flower Scent attacks permeates people. Waki Shi Ren.
That's the one. And her defining trait is summed up as Chi-Chu, this sort of single-minded devotion. When she served Jiamu, Jiamu was her world. Now it's Baoyu.
And she worries about him, doesn't she? About his perverse temperament, as the text puts it.
Constantly. She's the practical grounding force trying to manage his poetic volatility.
We see that groundedness straight away on that very first night. Dayu is upset, crying because she thinks she caused Baoyu's fit.
And Shi Ren slips in to comfort her. Her advice is basically, welcome to the Jia Mansion, dealing with Baoyu 101.
Right. She tells Dayu not to take it personally, that stranger things will happen, and getting upset every time won't work.
Yeah, she says something like, if you sorrow over everything he does, you'll be unable to sorrow enough.
She's teaching Dayu how to navigate Baoyu's eccentricities. It's a kind of initiation.
So the night ends with them talking about the jade again. Dayu asks about its origin, confirming that story about it being in his mouth at birth.
So by the time Dayu goes to sleep, she understands this connection isn't just family, it's deep, it's fraught, it involves this magical object. It's complicated.
But just as we're settling into this world of poetry, destiny, and fragile emotions, the author pulls the rug out from under us. He really does. The very next morning, the tone shifts dramatically. The idealized bubble kind of pops.
It's jarring. Day 1 is soulmates and symbolic jade. Day 2 is darker.
Much darker. Dayu goes to pay respects to Madame Wang, Baoyu's mother, and finds her and Xi Feng deep in discussion over some letters.
And these letters aren't about pleasantries. They pull back the curtain on some serious family business.
Serious and ugly. They concern Madame Wang's nephew, Zhu Pan, who's also Dayu's cousin, and we learn immediately that he's killed someone.
Just like that. No ambiguity.
Pretty much. The text says he relied on his wealth and power, Yi Kai Zhangxi, and beat someone to death. Dasi Ren Ming. It's brutal and introduces violence and corruption right into the heart of this seemingly refined family.
Wow. So this happens right as Dayu is settling in.
Immediately. And we see the family machine grinding into action. Xu Pan is apparently being dealt with by the authorities in Yingxin Prefecture.
But that's not the end of it.
Not at all. Madame Wang's brother, Prince Tang, is already pulling strings, sending people to bring Xu Pan to the capital. This isn't about justice. It's damage control. It's about using power and influence to manage a murder charge.